Welcome to Data Vista. We do the heavy lifting with data. In this video, you would learn the basics of programming in VBA Excel. You would learn how to access the VBE, that's the Visual Basic Editor. You would learn how to use the VBE interface. You would learn how to save your macro file. You would learn objects, methods, properties, and parameters. So in the previous video, we have already looked at how to record macro and various ways we can run our macro. If we want to write our macro by ourselves, how do we go about it? That is what Visual Basic for Application is all about. To open your Visual Basic editor, you click on Developer tab. And if you cannot find Developer tab on your screen, just right click on the ribbon, then make sure that Developer is checked. Okay, so you can click on Developer tab, then from there, click on Visual Basic. And voila, Visual Basic Editor is up. Another way to achieve that, you can simply press on your keyboard Alt F11 and Visual Basic will come up. That is how to open your Visual Basic editor. Before we move forward, I would like to show us how to save files in macro supported format. If you have macro in any Excel file and that file is not saved in a format that supports macro, your macro would be lost. So you click on File, Save As, then the extension you would select is XLSM. That's macro enabled workbook. Now to give this a name, I'll call it first VBA code. And I've saved this on my desktop. So my file has been saved in a format that supports macro. So I want to go back to my Visual Basic editor now. And there, so this is how it looks. This is the project pane, and this is the property pane. Inside the project pane, I would say we have the number of projects that we have will be the number of files that we have open. So in this particular case, only one project is open. This is VBA project, our first VBA macro. This is the name of our file. And these are the objects that are there. We have just one sheet in that workbook, and this is the workbook itself. You can right click on this and insert a module. A module is where your code lives. That is where you write your codes, and that is where you run your codes. So today we're going to start with how to write a procedure. To write a procedure in Visual Basic for Application, you start with sub, then you write the name of the procedure. In this case, I would like to call it my first procedure. Then type a space, open a parenthesis and close it, press enter. Automatically end sub will be there. So all your codes would be within sub and end sub. It is important to mention at this point that Visual Basic for Application VBA is an object-oriented language. So everything you write is centered around an object. What are objects? Objects are objects are the stuff that you use in your Excel. For example, your workbook is an object. Your pivot table is an object. Your cells, they are all objects. Your shapes, they are objects. Even your worksheets, they are objects. So everything you do centers around an object. So after you have understand what objects mean, it's important to know what method mean. Methods are the behavior or what you want an object to do. Method is what you want to do to an object. If you select a range of cells now, what do you want to do to that range of cells? That is method. And peradventure, you want to format a cell, that is property, that is the characteristics of an object. So object is like the noun in your Excel. Method is like the verb, that is what you want to do to that object or what the object can do. And property is the adjective, that is the properties or the characteristics of an object. Let us start this way. The only sheet I have here is called sheet 1. So I'll say sheet 1, that's an object, dot range. So range is the name that we use for cells in VBA, okay? Then I open the parentheses, quotation mark A1, close the quotation mark, close the parentheses. Dot value. So this value now is a property. I'll say is equals to, I want to assign a string to it. So I'll put it in quotation marks. Hello world. The space doesn't matter, but I like to remove it. So I'll run this. I like to check my Excel, see this, hello world. It can be anything. I mean, I can say I want to do from A1 to E5. I'll run it. Then from A1 to E5, I would have hello world. Right? Okay. So let me turn it back to A1. So value here is a property. Sheet 1 dot range, these are objects. This hello world is a value that has been assigned to this property, and this equal to is an assignment operator. Okay. What if I want to make this bold? Let me copy this. I'll paste it. So instead of value, I want to use dot font dot bold equals true. So anything that we toggle in Excel, most of them uses true or false. What I mean is, look at this. I can also do something for italics. I'll say dot font dot italics equals true. I'll run this. Yeah. So if you notice now, what was there before was not removed. All right. Okay, so this is your introduction to writing your macro. Let me delete this, then let me run the macro again. And that is it. We also have parameters. Parameters qualify the methods. Parameters, I'll run it. And now, if you notice, I have another sheet, sheet 2. So let me add a parameter. Let's say I want my sheet to come after sheet 1. So after add, I'll just put a space. Then the parameters would come up and I'll type after. I'll put a colon and equals to. So that is how we assign values to parameters. The way we assign values to properties is just by equal to. You want to assign value to a parameter, you put colon, then you put equal to. So I want it after sheet 1. I'll run this. And if you notice now, the new sheet is after sheet 1. Okay, so that it doesn't look like, look, let's create our sheet 4 to be before sheet 2. So I'll say before sheet 2, and I run this. Can you see? It's there. So by now, you should have known what objects mean, what method mean, what properties mean, and what parameters mean. In our next video, we are going to build on this until you become an expert VBA coder. Please subscribe to this channel, like the video so that you can get notifications when other videos drop. Thank you.